to the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. It's the big one, of course. We finally have arrived at the point of the season where the Clasico Nacional is upon us. And we're going to be recapping what happened against Pachuca briefly, and then we're going to give the entirety of the show. Leon. I saw your face, Christian. I know. Sorry. My bad. I'm already... doesn't matter. Look, point is, we're going to give the entirety of the show up to the Clasico Nacional. It's the big one. And of course, we have some special guests who came along to help us preview this game as well. But let me introduce, as always, my co-host. You guys heard one of them. And then, of course, you guys already know who the other one is. So, starting off, it is New York's favorite resident, Mr. Christian Rosendo, and Brooklyn's very own AJ. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
I'm down bad right now. I'm down bad. Hopefully this podcast can lift my spirits up. Ivan, you said it's the big one, and we are accompanied by some wonderful guests, so it should be a fun night tonight.
Always a fun night. But AJ, how's life in New York? How's it going? How's Mr. Young Arnie going over there?
Everything's good. The weather was actually pretty nice earlier today. We were in the 50s, which was pretty nice. It's Tuesday. It's aerobic training for me, so it's always good to start my Tuesday off like that. And here I am now, ready to talk everything Club America, and what a better way to talk about the Clasico Nacional tonight.
Definitely, plenty of stuff to discuss. And you guys aren't the only one in New York joining us today on the podcast. All the way from the Chivas del Norte, it is their very own Mr. Varo. Varo, how are you, my friend? Welcome back to the pod. Always great to have you guys on when it's the Clasico Nacional. Excited to hear what you guys have to say.
Hey, what's up, guys? Excited to talk Chivas America. I know these pods are always fun for the banter. And I don't know. I don't feel too good coming into this one, but we'll see.
Well, we'll see. I mean, for right now, it's just you. We will be joined by another one of your co-hosts pretty soon, and so hopefully that will level up the playing field in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, excited to hear what you guys have to say in regards to Chivas. I know that you guys' season is a little bit more different to what ours is at the moment. But either way, I think we've said it time and time again whenever we do these podcast episodes, regardless of how both teams are coming into this, you can just chuck that out the window because a Clasico is always going to be a Clasico. So excited to hear what you guys have to say. And then we'll hear a little bit of what happened in your guys' midweek match against, correct me if I'm wrong, Mazatlan, correct?
Yep.
All right, good. I got that one right, Christian. See, at least I got one right. But quickly, gentlemen, let's just recap what happened against Leon because it was kind of the talking news of the town, right? Viñas at the death, giving America 3 points at the Estadio Azteca. Not the best of game, not the prettiest of games, and let's face it, probably the worst game America's had under Solari this season. Just quickly, just give me a brief, just overall thoughts in regards to these 3 points at home against Leon.
For me, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions, starting off with a terrible start. Let's hope that never happens ever again. That was just plain out embarrassing. But I like the team. I like how the team responded. Not too long after we did get the equalizer there. But it's just about maintaining the mid, holding the ball, and that's something we didn't do in the second half. And I think we gave Leon way too much respect. And while they do deserve their merits and their credits of what they put out, America can't be doing that, especially if you know that you are the superior team.
Definitely. AJ, anything else to add on to top of that?
We made history with Solari. We got scored on in 13 seconds, so that's another thing to add to Solari's time in America. First the Atlas mistake, and now this. So that was pretty crazy. When I saw that, I said 15 seconds. I'm off by 2 seconds. I'm like, close enough, but just thank God for Viñas, though. We were about to lose the house, but he rescued, headed home, and I'm like, thank God. I'm still here today. Yep, Wi-Fi, all that.
Christian was about to make sure all of us lost the house this weekend if it wasn't for Viñas. But no, it was really cool. It was really cool to see Viñas come off the bench and get the goal, that goal that he definitely dreaded and longed for. And then, of course, for a second you thought, well, he's offside. Here we go. It was going to be a draw. But luckily enough, we have VAR, and in this case, it doesn't kind of hurt us. It actually gives us the 3 points. Let's talk about this game real quickly, real briefly. I think you mentioned it, Christian. This game was just atrocious in the midfield. I think as soon as Pedro Aquino leaves the middle of the pitch, I think that's when you see Leon completely just dominate kind of that midfield battle. And then I think at one point the possession was like 72% to them, which was I
In the
think
second half, yeah.
ridiculous.
Mhm.
And so I think that I get what we were speaking about this off camera, that a lot of that had to do with the fact that Aquino wasn't there and he was the one kind of moving the ball more.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're heavily relying on one person so much is probably not a good thing. I mean, we understand why Aquino was taken off. We know that he likes to sometimes be a little bit reckless, and that we need to definitely save him for the Clásico Nacional. But someone should have been able to step up and do his job. I'm looking at a Richard who is more than capable of moving that ball around. I'm looking at a Santi Naveda who's trying to prove himself in that midfield to try to be the kind of that player. And so the fact that no one was able to do that, not even Fidalgo was able to do it. So it's I don't know. It's one of those things where you just kind of scratch your head and think, what could have gone better.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it just proves that Pedro Aquino is definitely going to be an important asset going forward, and Solari's idea and scheme of America playing. But no, Ivan, you said it right. I really wish that Richard Sanchez or Santi Naveda did a better job trying to control play and move the ball around, because those two are more than capable of doing it. And the fact that you just got run over by a Leon team who had a lot of key missing players, like Chapito Montes, right? He's usually the one. He's usually their engine. He was nowhere near. He wasn't even there, and you still let that happen. It's a little bit concerning. But I think this can serve as a learning experience as well for Solari and for the players to kind of adjust themselves mid game. And I don't think they did a very good job adjusting themselves in the second half. Even when Leon had more possession, and when Leon took over the game in a sense. I don't know, Ivan. It is a little bit weird, but like you said though, I don't know what else Solari could have done to kind of balance that out.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and maybe we'll come back to it a little bit when we talk, tactics with the Chivas and Norte, and to see, how both teams are going to fare up against each other. I think we might have to come and revisit a little bit of some of those mistakes against Leon and how we can adjust that for this game. So, but overall, AJ, anything else to add on in regards to this game against Leon? I know we could go in it and dive into it and dwell onto it for days, but I think that with the Clásico Nacional coming up, I think it's got to be a quick turnaround, not just for us, but for these players as well. They have to think like, okay, yes, it was a scrappy win, but I think now we just have to, take what we got and then kind of just build from it.
It was just scary, really. I felt like really against a struggling team like Leon, we should have just been on top throughout that entire game. But that 37% possession rate compared to Leon 63, it goes to show right there that Leon was just all over us completely, and that's something we should really not allow. It's a game where we can say for Solari, that's one game we can get, you can get passed by. Like, you got lucky in that one because of Viñas. But I definitely did not want to see a scare like that again. And to just see that that's how America performed right before the biggest game of the season for them, it's something that Solari needs to fix immediately, because you want to be heading into arguably his biggest game of the season and have a repeat a disgusting performance like that, because that's unacceptable.
Definitely, very much unacceptable. But I say that I say this to then say that the fact that America's worst game under Solari is a 2-1 victory against Leon, that has to have some positives in it as well.
No, definitely. And it just proves that, this team is once again never dead until the final whistle blows. And this is, I think, the second or third time, Solari gave us this kind of feeling that, we're not dead until it's over. So at least that the players are still, 100% committed to going out for the win. And, when it seems impossible, the players do have the right mindset. And I guess that is a positive, going forward.
Yeah, definitely. But that pretty much wraps it up. America gets the 2-1 victory over Leon, 3 points, 3 important points, and some, morale boost coming into the Clásico Nacional. Varo, talk to you a little bit more about what happened with you guys on the weekend away at Mazatlan. I know you guys played literally right after we did. Just kind of give me your overall thoughts in regards to, how you think the team did, your guys' season as a whole so far, and just kind of anything you just really think that we should kind of be aware in regards to Chivas.
Well, Chivas extended their 5-game non-losing streak. They have now not lost in 6 games, but it does not feel like that at all. It feels like we're struggling to win games. We've won, 2 out of those 6. Against Mazatlan, we give up an early goal, and then we come back and tie the game. But at no point did I think Chivas looked like the better team, and I think that's been the story for Chivas this season. We're kind of struggling to find our style of play. I think our midfield is a huge disconnect. It's a hit or miss, basically. I know against Pumas, the midfield looked amazing. Against Leon, we won. We beat them 3-1, but that was more of Leon lends themselves to the kind of attacking football that Chivas wants to play. They're a team that's built to counter. And if you watch the game, almost all, I think 2 out of the 3 goals we scored on them were counterattack goals. So if a team's going to attack us, Chivas has a chance. But what a lot of the teams do is they just sit back and they kind of dare Chivas to break them down. And Chivas has been able to at least break them down to tie the game, but the whole season they haven't been able to come back and win a game. So that's a big thing going into the Clasico this weekend. If you guys want to beat us, score a goal on like the 91st minute, so we don't have enough time to come back.
And you know what? That seems to be the trend for America. So who knows? Maybe that just might be the key to success for America. But no, I think we're all hopeful for a much better game. But it's curious to hear how you kind of describe Chivas and I don't know, gentlemen, maybe you guys can agree or disagree with me, but I think that there is some kind of similarities between both teams that, they're both kind of facing some maybe identity crisis in a sense where they're still trying to find kind of their rhythm and their playing style. I feel like America's maybe found it a little bit, but we haven't really been consistent enough to say that, yeah, this is definitely what we're trying to play at. So I don't know. What do you guys draw to those conclusions?
No, definitely, I agree with you. It's you say it perfectly. There are some similarities in both teams. I guess when inside the match, they struggle to find a consistent, style of play, and for a long period of time. And I think that's kind of stunt on whether Chivas gets the win or if America dominates a match, right? So I think on Sunday that'll be another key. Which team can find that consistency faster, and then the team that does that will have the much better chance of winning the match.
No, yeah, definitely. I think I agree with you. So, Vado, talk to me a little bit more about your boy Ponce and how's he been doing this season.
Chivas is the most hated man. It started off as a joke, but now I'm like the leader of the Ponce hive because, I don't know. I've just never got it. Like a lot of the fan base seems to hate the guy, but as Chivas fans, and when we've recorded with you guys, we've said that sometimes the Clasico kind of lost its feeling because we don't have as many canteranos on each other's squads as like we used to, like growing up watching the teams. But Ponce is a canterano, and like he's a left back. He won the gold medal with Mexico. He won a championship. He's won championships with Chivas. But the fans just seem to hate him, and I'm like, why would you hate him? He's like, you guys complain we don't have canteranos, but then Ponce is a canterano, and you hate him. Like he fucks up, yeah, but that's like, that's the defender's curse. You get blamed as a defender. Like your mistakes stand out way more. Like as a defender and a goalie, your mistakes are like super magnified. But
oh yeah,
I think Ponce is a solid left back. Mayorga is who people want to replace him. He's more offensive. He can probably distribute the ball a little better, but he does have his deficiencies when it comes to defense. And I think that's where Ponce helps. To the dismay of many Chivas fans, he got an assist on Saturday night to Molina, another one of our most hated players, apparently. But I like Ponce, and I know everybody else on my podcast hates him. So he's all right in my book.
he's all right. He's an all right guy. It's funny that you mentioned goalkeeper because it looks like we have Juan Villalobos here saying Varo has 2 guys, Toño and Ponce. So
the Toño thing is a podcast joke, but yeah, because everybody hated him, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be that guy that champions for him. And then for a while, he was like doing super well. I remember he scored that goal against Veracruz from like his own box to the Veracruz goal. I don't know if you guys remember that highlight.
I think I do, yes.
Yeah. the thing about him is it always feels like when he puts the Chivas jersey on, it's too much pressure for him. Because I think he played on Cholos and some other team before that, and he was really good for them. And, like I think he was like the goalie with the most blocks in the season or something like that.
Yeah, with
But there's something
Lobos.
about the Chivas jersey. Yeah, there's something about the Chivas jersey with him that he just makes dumb mistakes. And there was that season where he botched the game against Querétaro, I think, and then he botched it again against Toluca, and that's it. Godinho took it, and he's rolling with it. And yeah, Tonyo, he should probably be sold because he's not gonna play. He's not gonna start for Chivas again.
Interesting. Because I know, I remember when he was kind of reaching those heights, and there's a lot of people saying that he should get the national team call up, and I was always on the fence about it, and I think you guys can see why now. But
Yeah, no.
no, but I mean, it's interesting. Now we're kind of on the goalkeeper section. I just want to get your thoughts about this because I mean, I haven't really heard too much about it. I maybe only heard a little bit of the loan perspective of it. But what is this about? You guys potentially getting Cota?
I don't know. I think it's just
Would you
rumors,
take
I
him?
guess, but like not anymore because I think Coutinho's done enough to earn. He's earned the spot, and if you're gonna bench him to bring in Cota, like that's like you don't do that to a goalkeeper, right? I think if a goalkeeper loses his position, it's because he did something to lose it, like Tonyo. And now Coutinho has established himself. He's a young goalkeeper. You don't want to hit his confidence like that by benching him for an older keeper. Cota's good, but I think right now, especially since Chivas is low on funds, I think as probably most teams are due to the pandemic, I don't think we should be spending. If we are going to spend, don't spend on the goalkeeper. Just go get some midfielders that can create some plays. Don't just leave Coutinho where he is. I like Cota. He won the championship with us, but it's time to move on. And I think a lot of Chivas fans agree with me.
Interesting. Well, our good friend Miss Cari Torres, who was on the podcast last week, she says lies. I guess I all had to do with the fact about the whole Cota stuff. I don't think. She is also asking, Vado, where's your face?
I need a haircut, so I'm not.
Perfect excuse.
I need to shape
Perfect
up.
excuse.
It's a pandemic.
Maybe we'll do a bet at the end of the podcast between you and AJ to see who has to shave his head in regards to this Clásico Nacional.
Oh God!
I've done that twice. I think against America, which I won, and then against the Cruz Azul fan, which I also won. So 2-0, AJ, if you want.
You're a challenge.
I know you got long hair, AJ. I got short hair, so I don't care. Like,
Nah,
mine
bro,
will be back, like, 3
that
weeks.
long hair is gone. I'm trying to get it back, but
Oh, is it?
it could be gone again. I'm a little like Diego Lainez when he first started. So
I'm trying to implement that rule Carlos Reynoso had back in the 80s, where it's like everyone that's here has to have their hair at a certain short length. So AJ, I'm looking at you. So that's why I have a bet with you every week.
Oh my.
Chris Saint leaves AJ's hair alone. But no, it's interesting to hear kind of the perspective of what Chivas is coming into this one and all that good stuff. But before we jump into kind of this Clásico Nacional preview, I know that Christian, you have a bit of Coapa news in regards to whether or not Nicolas Benedetti is going to be back anytime soon. And then anything else in regards to the world of America, because I know that some people have been asking us. There is a friendly within almost 2 weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks. Do we have more news about that? We'll let you guys know in just a second. But today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. I'd like to say thank you to our sponsor, Foot Cult, for making this a possibility. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out Foot Cult at footcult.com. You guys can get 10% off on all Foot Cult products by using the discount code EEP at checkout. Again, that is EEP at checkout to get 10% off all Foot Cult products. They have some amazing gear, some jerseys, some shorts, some long sleeves, some air fresheners, you name it. They got you covered on all things. So it's definitely something that you guys need to go check out. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. Again, use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off all Foot Cult products. And yeah, gentlemen, are we ready? Christian, any Coapa news? at all?
There is a few Guapa news. Bruno Valdez looks like he will be once again with the under 20s this weekend. There was speculation that he might make the bench, but I think they're gonna take it easy on him, which I think we all agreed, and there's no need to rush him right now. I think besides the Leon game, I think our defense has been pretty solid throughout the whole season. So definitely want him to be at 100% before we risk him in any type of match, right? So I think he'll be once again with the U20s. Nico Benedetti is training well with the team. Every week they say that he has some sort of muscular injury, which I find that very hard to believe. It just seems
Just
right
tell the man.
now, that he's not in Solari's plans. Which it makes sense. You brought on Fidalgo. You have Cordova there that can play his position. There really isn't room right now for Benedetti. But rest assured though that he is still, he's fine right now. Training with the team. So at any given moment, when Solari needs him, he will be ready to respond. And that's pretty much it. Nico Castillo also posted on Instagram today that he should be set to return to the pitch around July. So definitely some good news for Nico Castillo coming up.
Definitely, and that pretty much wraps up the news in and around co-op. Like I mentioned, the friendly coming up against Monterrey and Dallas. I know that they've already started selling some tickets, and it's at limited space. All signs are pointing to this game actually going through. Obviously, with Texas lifting kind of the ban on anything and everything, it paints in that light. But it just all depends. The closer we get to that date, how things are going to kind of, kind of all just fall into place. So again, we hear anything, guys, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. You guys will hear it first over there on all our social media platforms, and that way that you guys are more than well aware, especially if you guys are trying to plan a trip or trying to get yourselves going over to Texas and everything. So again, we'll keep you guys up to date with any of the information that we get. I know that this week is probably going to be a big one in regards to all that. So keep in tune to our social media. So let's just go through real quickly some comments right here, because AJ's getting a lot of love here, saying Chris Rivera going with AJ with the mullet, though. A little fire emoji. Love it. Ivan saying clean cut shave just like the Yankees. This is my favorite right here. This is my favorite. AP Jr. saying El cut AJ worth the mullet. Definitely getting a lot of love right here. Kari saying, I hate it here. I don't know if she's talking about the comment section or if she's talking about where she lives. Oh, okay. Because I was about to say. But no. All righty, gentlemen. Let's jump into the Clasico Nacional talk. And before we start previewing the game, actually, I have a question for everyone right now. Not just us right here on the podcast, but maybe for the people listening right now and for the people that want to leave a comment. Here's a question that I open up to all of you guys, because I think we've had the discussion from time and time again. And that is, has the Clásico Nacional lost its touch? Is it still as big of a game as it was maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line? Or has this slowly transitioned itself to be just another game in the season? Right? Do you think that there's still that hype, that spark? Because I remember growing up, like, this is the game you looked forward to throughout the whole season. Like, this made or break your season sometimes, And so, do you guys feel that this is still that same type of game? Or maybe kind of like Vado said, because we don't have so many kind of canteranos, maybe because we have so much more foreigners, or maybe Mexicans that weren't built within the institution. Do you think all of that has kind of maybe, downplayed this game and maybe has lost its touch a little bit? Is the Clásico Nacional still that game, or has it kind of dwindled down into just kind of, it's still a good game, but it's not a major kind of pay-per-view event? So, anyone?
I'll go first. I always seen this game. It's arguably the biggest game of the entire Liga MX season, no matter what season or what point of the season it is. It's just, and I figure maybe goes into the institution, kind of like an exact could think of, like the Clásico Joven. It's usually between the fight between the canteranos. You're having Cruz Azul having their academy players and Mega having their academy players, and it just seems like over the years, just teams, you're not seeing that many of the players from Fuerza Básicas, and I feel like it's slowly doing it to just be like, it's a competitive match, but is that Clásico feeling there? It's like it's disappearing. And I feel like with Chivas, I always get excited for it. But then when it comes to the game, it's just like, yeah, what is this? Playoffs is a different story, but I feel like during the regular season, it's just not there. Maybe I'm feeling this way because the fans are just not there. So you're not usually getting to see like all all the crazy action that's happening there. I don't know. I just feel like as time progresses, it kind of slowly loses like the hype around it for being the Clasico Nacional as the biggest game in Mexico.
Interesting. Ivan here saying it's never another game. Everyone wants to beat America, especially La Virria.
I don't think it's due to the fact that there isn't as much cantera playing in these matches, where I do think it has a factor in it, but I don't think it's the biggest one there. I also think the gameplay itself in recent years hasn't been up to the standards of what a Clásico Nacional should be. And I'm not putting all the blame on Chivas, but their recent downhill performances these past couple of years have made this into I guess a feeling that people may think that is dwindling down, but rest assured though that this still is the biggest game of the season. If you look at any ratings possible, this still is the most watched game of every season, maybe besides the final of the Liga MX, but this is definitely top 3 100%, and will continue forever be a top 3 game in the season. It's just, I think for me, the gameplay definitely has lost a little bit of a spark, right? But I don't think that it's to a point where where people are just gonna call it another game.
Interesting. Vado, what do you have to that? Because I know that I see some comments as well. It's like if it's transition to just another game, it's because of how bad Chivas has been over the past decades. Exactly what kind of Christian was alluding to. But what do you think, Vado?
Well, I think as a Chivas fan, it kind of changed for me when I went to Guadalajara, and kind of like locally, Atlas is like supposedly the biggest game on the calendar for them. But like growing up in the States as a Chivas fan, it was always America, just because I knew more America fans, and like the banter was always there. Like I didn't meet an Atlas fan until I actually went to Guadalajara, because they don't exist outside of there. So, but no, it's definitely the biggest game of the season. Like Christian said, the ratings prove it. I think if you're not an America fan or a Chivas fan, it's that one game that you're like, all right, hey, it's a Clasico. Let me go and watch this. Like I don't really watch other Liga MX teams play besides Chivas, unless I'm like in the Quinela, where then it actually kind of matters to me.
Or you have money on
But
it.
like, yeah, like if I have money on it, then I'll watch, because that's how I make it fun. But like a Tigres Rayados game, I don't watch it. Like I don't watch that. Like I don't watch America Cruz Azul. I won't watch it. Like I don't watch these little other clásicos, quote air quotes, But Chivas America is always going to be the biggest game of the Liga MX season. I think the fact that Chivas and America never seem to be, either one of them is doing bad and one of them is doing well. So it's never like they're both doing well. So I think that kind of de-escalates the maybe importance of the game. But like we said, form really doesn't matter when it's time for a Clasico. We saw what happened in the quarterfinals last season.
Yeah.
3 moments of brilliance from Chicote, and a lot of people play that down to that. But I think it was like a masterclass from Vucetich to Piojo. Like America really didn't show anything till like the second half of that second game, and Vucetich had Chivas looking actually dangerous in those games. But it's like that. A moment of brilliance can win you a Clasico, and I think that's why fans watch. And I think the way I don't know if you guys are actually attacking this season, but if America decides to attack Chivas, that's going to open up the spaces that Chivas needs to look like a good team. Like you guys aren't going to park the bus on us, and that's why I'm excited. It's going to be a back and forth game.
That's what hopefully we all want, right? Because it's felt like it's been eons ago since we've gotten that 3-3 draw at the Azteca back in 05.
Bro, that's one of my
I love watching that game.
Time.
I love watching that
game.
game.
No one even won, but it's like one of my favorite Clásicos of all time.
Here.
It's just that game. If you were to say that you could only watch one Clásico your whole entire life, I think people would allude to this game because it has a little bit of everything. right? It has moments where Americanistas can kind of dwell on it. It has moments where Chivistas can definitely dwell on it. It's got goals, it's got passion, it's got grit, it's got everything. It's got everything you want in a Clasico. Like this, that is the game you sell people on in America Chivas,
Yeah.
right? And it's just felt eons since we've gotten games like that. Right, there's been sparks here and there, the little tussles here and there, the back and forths, but I think we all just kind of are hoping for a game like that, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-3, but something that has that same kind of passion, that same kind of spark, that same kind of drive, and kind of allude to what AJ was saying. Maybe we won't have that this Sunday because maybe, fans are going to be capped at about 25%, you said, AJ, or 20%?
Yeah, 25%.
And so 25%. So you're not going to get that same feeling, right? The atmosphere plays a big role in it. But hopefully post-pandemic, maybe we can finally get that game, and so that the narrative is just kind of shifted from is America Chivas dwindling down to back to America Chivas, the all-time game that everyone needs to watch, And so, because I do see it, and I'm sure that there's going to be this debate going on through Twitter as to, it's just another game, or no, it's still life or death. And I think a lot of people are kind of falling in within that media and saying, this game is still very much important, but it doesn't hold kind of that same kind of pedestal as it did back like in those 05 or 08 kind of games that where there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of tussle, a lot of like on your edge seat type of situations. And so hopefully we do get something similar to that on Sunday. I don't expect it to, because I think there's a lot of factors that play against it, but I do think that we've seen it. I mean, we've lived through it, Christian. There's times where America was doing terrible in the season, but once it came to the Clasico, you knew that it was all out the window, and it was just about this one game, and you had to put heart in it. And so, I don't know. It's just interesting, and it was just interesting to kind of hear what you guys had to say. It was interesting what Vado had to say. It's interesting to see what some of these people, some of our listeners are saying as well. I think we mentioned Ivan there. We mentioned as well as Jerry, Chris saying, I think as an America fan, our Clásicos are now the final. Chivas hasn't been the same, and it's more predictable than what it was before. And maybe he's right to say something like that. But Freddie's saying, what? I'm still excited for this Sunday. Chivas got us good last Liga. I want a little bit of payback. So maybe there's maybe we needed that. Maybe we needed that loss in order to kind of maybe bring the spark back a little bit. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. For me personally, this game is still the game of the season, the one I'm always marking down on my calendar, the one I'm always looking forward to, and the one that will forever live kind of like, this is the game, And so hopefully everyone can get back on board to that same feeling as well. But I just thought it'd be interesting that we start off with that discussion. And now let's move to the game on Sunday, because America is going to be going up against Chivas. We're going to be flying out to Guadalajara to play against them Sunday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But that is all subject to change because, gentlemen, there is a daylight savings that day. So will this jump around? Maybe, because we don't know how to do math here on the UI podcast. So we're just going with what's on Google, and we're just gonna kind of we're just gonna kind of let it go and see how that ends up for us. But we'll have a much more accurate kickoff time the day of. I mean, Vado, how are Chivas coming into this game? Talk to me. I mean, you guys just had that draw. Obviously, still trying to find some form and some identity, but just kind of what you guys are seeing in and around your guys' kind of, camps and training and all that stuff. Do you think the team's really much, ready for this?
I think if anything is going to kickstart their season, it's going to be this game, and it has to be this game. Our offense is, I think we're third in the league at the moment, either third or fourth. I think we're actually scoring goals, which has been a problem for Chivas the last couple of seasons. So our offense woke up, but then in the process, our defense broke because we are leaking goals. I think we're 14th in the league, and it's not good. Like Vucetich has been playing around with the back line a lot, like making substitutions, trying different center back pairings, trying different left backs, right backs, and no matter what, Chivas always ends up conceding, and we usually concede first too, which sucks because now we have to play catch up, and then once we actually do catch up, it's like we don't ever do enough to win the game. So, I told you guys, Chivas hasn't lost a game in 6 games, but as a Chivas fan, it does not feel like that. A lot of these ties feel like losses because there are games that Chivas should have won, and the first half of the season was actually Chivas's easy half of the season. And now, we have like a lot of tough teams coming up. We got America, we got Rayados, we got Santos, we got Cruz Azul, we got Xolos, Atlas, and then Tigres. So, like everybody we have left to play, I think is in the top half of the table. So where we should have racked up points, we didn't, and now they're gonna have to fight for every point the rest of the season. And thankfully, I guess now it's harder to not to qualify than it is to qualify. So I think Chivas
Yeah.
will be in the repechaje or liguilla, whatever it is, and I guess that's within teacher's time to shine. So I think on the podcast we've given up on Chivas playing well, and now it's just like let's just rack up the points and get to liguilla because that's supposed to be where Vucetich is his mastermind, and he's gonna get us to the next rounds. And he did against America, he did against Necaxa, fell short against Leon, but I think any team last season was going to fall short to Leon just because how good they were and how informed they were. But I think if America comes out to play on Sunday night, it's going to benefit Chivas, and that'll give us a good chance to maybe win the game.
Interesting. I have a question for you. I mean, Vucetich is obviously a bit in the presser. Do you think that his job might be in the line with a loss against America?
I've been saying all season we can't afford to fire him, so I think no matter what happens, he's going to stay throughout the rest of the season. The team is financially struggling, so Vucetich is going to be our coach to the end of the season. They're probably going to let his contract play out, so I don't think his job is on the line no matter what happens, unless we get destroyed 7-0 or something. Then Namari probably has to fire him. Hey, Chivas fans would too, but just because he would lead to Vucetich getting fired. Well, I don't think his job is on the line. I think he'll go on and he'll end the season, and we'll see what happens.
Interesting, because I know I've seen Mo's on Twitter whenever you guys are playing, and so I follow a couple of Chivas fans, and so it always amuses me how you guys at one point were praising this man, and now you're like, this man's got to go.
Well, I don't think we ever praised him. I mean, he did, because even the America game in the quarterfinals, it was 3 moments of brilliance from Chicote that got us, the 3-1 win overall. But we've never looked like an offensive team. Like if you look at the Chivas roster on paper, we're stacked. Like we should be winning games easily. We're like the base of the U23 national team that's going to go to the Olympics. I think 7 or 8 of our players are on there, and we can't figure out how to make it work. If we had a coach that would adapt to the players he has instead of taking the players he has and kind of smashing them into this system that he wants to implement, then I think Chivas would be good. If they could find an actual coach that doesn't mind going out of his comfort zone and implementing a system that benefits his players and not a system that is his, That's the problem with Vucetich. Like we have Fernando Beltran, who's a fan favorite, and I think should be playing more minutes, and Vucetich just puts him on for the last 5 minutes of the game. And he's getting national team call-ups. He's going to be in the Olympics qualifying team. So, God damn it, who's the national team coach? Is failing me.
Lozano?
Right now. Well, Lozano, but I mean the senior national team. Tata. There you go. Tata's calling him up. So obviously Tata's seeing something in him too, right? But Vucetich doesn't see it. So that's the problem. We have a coach that wants to play his system instead of giving us a system that's gonna get the best out of all our players.
Interesting. Very much interesting. Well, gentlemen, we've heard a little bit of the Chivas perspective. Now, how does America come into this one? Obviously, a little bit on a high after that win, but we know that our away form starting to pick up form. It's starting to look a little bit better. And we know that we need to kind of cement it a little bit with this game against Chivas, it being the Clásico Nacional and everything kind of going in and around it. How do you think Solari's preparing his boys for this game?
AJ, you can go first after burp.
Well, we're coming off of a scary 2-1 win against Leon, which is great. But we definitely don't want to be scared like that again, especially in the Clásico, because this is Solari's pretty much first Clásico. As Kristen mentioned, it's his first Clásico. This is like against like his Barcelona, pretty much. Think of it as like Real Madrid and Barcelona. These are Chivas and America, two biggest teams in Mexico, facing out against one another. It's really crucial for Solari to make an impression to see how he can play against America's biggest rival. So in this game, he needs to think of the last game he played against Leon, like the mistakes. I need to clean those up as if that never happened. He doesn't want to replicate those same exact mistakes. We don't want to give Chivas all of that space and opportunity for them to get some goals on us, because Chivas are struggling this season. America should be taking advantage of that. Up front, they look scary. Defense, not too shabby. In midfield, as Val mentioned, that's where the issues are in play, and I feel like we should exploit that midfield. We get through that midfield. At that point, it's all about the defense and playing against Godinho. There's no Toño Rodriguez, because the last time he played, this man conceded 4 goals, and I think at that point, they're like, that's enough. Go to the bench. So we have that in mind, knowing Toño's not there. So it doesn't mean it's going to be easy enough to score goals against a big guy like Godinho. But hey, with Solari, anything is possible. And it's going to be really exciting to see what he can do and what starting level he'll be putting up against Chivas, and see if he can get us the 3 points away.
Well, talking about starting 11, Christian, give me your predicted starting 11 for Sunday's matchup.
Sure. I'll have Ochoa in net, the usual back four: Jorge Sanchez, Manuel Aguilera, Sebas Cáceres, Luis Fuentes. The midfield: Pedro Aquino, Richard Sanchez, Alvaro Fidalgo. On one side, Cordova; on the other side, Lainez, and up top, Roger Martinez.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Why is Roger starting, dude?
Listen,
Viñas just scored a goal, and Henry's
not starting. He's not starting. Well, Viñas isn't starting. I can almost assure you that. And it's a playoff. It's a playoff between Roger and Henry. I think Solari sees something in Roger that can kind of disrupt Chivas, especially with their, like Varo just mentioned, they have a weak defensive line right now, and Roger Martinez is that player who can, in any given moment, break down a defense. I don't know. I think it's a toss-up. Solari's been throwing curveballs all season long. I think this will be another one.
This is not a curveball, dude. This is flat out just out of left field.
Hey.
All right? Chris even says you don't bench Henry with the goals he's been having lately.
Listen, if Roger starts Sunday, I think all of you guys owe me $100.
Okay, calm down.
I mean, I'm not complaining about Roger.
AJ's not complaining.
I'm not complaining.
AJ, why are you not complaining?
Sure, give him a chance. It's like the entire Chucho Lopez situation. Everyone says, why is this man starting? And I'm like, Solari sees something in him. He started, and then there's Roger. Why are we starting Royer? That same exact response. He sees something in Royer, and look how he's been. I mean, yes, I know some games he's had, everyone's like, why? But in the games where he do score and comes off the bench, he happens to do something. Starting, I feel it's another chance for Silas. Give him that opportunity. It's like, let's see what you can do against Chivas. I don't know how you played because he didn't see how you played last season. Let's give him another try and see what is. Who knows? He could bag a goal or two, or heck, if that happens, a hat trick, and he's like, okay, I made the correct move. So I'm done with Solari. For him to put Royer, bet, go with it.
No, I'm not all for that. Look, Freddie, I agree with you here. Freddie's saying Roger plays best coming off the bench, and I agree with that. And I've said that time and time again. You got to keep that guy on the bench as an impact sub. You can't have him start. Although you bring some really good points, Christian. He has something that can definitely kind of, disbalance the defense that Chivas has right now. But I think Henry's in form. He's scoring goals. Like, he's just at the right place at the right time. You can't take that away from him, and you have to ride that momentum.
We'll see.
But regardless, the lineups, the line is still good. I'm not saying that.
I think the lineup stays the same besides that player.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the one.
I think that's the lineup
one
besides that player. Maybe.
Definitely.
And whatever they're both running, what if Viñas starts?
Oh, that'd be interesting though. That would be interesting.
That for me is more of a left field than Roger.
Yeah, Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, with everything going on, yeah, that's very much true.
At least
Um,
at least he's not putting another Cuellar where he's constantly switching the starting 11 every single time. So it's one change. I'm fine with that. So
well, we'll keep it like that for right now. Vado, give me your guys' predicted starting 11 for the game on Sunday.
That's funny, AJ. You mentioned Cuellar, and Vucevic hasn't put out the same starting 11, I think, since he's been with Chivas. So like predicting his lineup, I'm definitely gonna get one wrong because he's just gonna be like, he's gonna remember one of our guys scored a goal on America and be like, "Oh, you get the start tonight. Maybe you'll do it again." Chicote might start. Chicote will probably start on Sunday. Now that I think about it, but it's gonna be Gudinho at goal. Left back is gonna be my guy Miguel Ponce. Center backs Sepulveda and Pollo Briseño. Giovanni Dos Santos, watch out. Right back, Jesus.
yo,
right back, Jesus Sanchez. Midfield is going to be Molina and Lalo Torres. Mangula will probably be behind Macias or Vega, but it'll be Vega, Macias. On the right, it'll be Brizuela, and Angulo will be wandering somewhere. But that should be our starting 11 on Sunday night. But don't be surprised if Chicote gets a start because of what he did in the playoffs. And I don't know, Vucevic doesn't make sense. Every week we're like, why is he doing this? Just put out the same starting 11. Maybe that's why your defense doesn't work. Like, something's wrong.
después.
Okay, well, it's an interesting lineup. I'll say that much. I mean, AJ, you mentioned that they have some players, and Vado, you mentioned it as well. You know, on paper, you guys are pretty much stacked as well. So, look, both teams have quality coming into this one, right? Whether or not these players are in form, I don't really think you have to take too much consideration into that. We've talked about it. A Clasico is a Clasico. You play this differently, and it's passion and it's drive and it's motivation that gets you through these games. And it's the team that wants it the most is going to get it at the end of the game. It's not to say that too. The coaches play a pretty big part, and that's why I think I'm interested to see what Solari tactically is going to do against a Vucetic, someone who's new to the league and is experiencing it as a coach for the very first time to go up against a veteran like Vucetic who has so much kind of miles under his belt and has championships, so many playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how Solari stacks up against a manager like Vucetic, especially on the road. So, I mean, Christian, tactically speaking, how do you think America is going to play against Chivas? I think, Vado mentioned it. We're definitely not going to go in and park the bus. And I think it's one thing we've seen in America do is that we're going to go out and we're going to try to go for the game. Granted, we didn't have the best game against Leon, but right. I think that we're still going to try to implement something. And I will say this. I know Vado is hoping for us to be kind of more on the attack and go and take the game to Chivas. But I don't think we're going to lose kind of that organization that we've had in the defense, right? I think he's going to be very compact. He's going to be very much structured. He's going to say, look, maybe don't push off too much. I don't think we're going to see a lot of those overlapping runs from Fuentes. Maybe we will from George, but maybe not so much Fuentes. I do see our backline trying to maybe hold off a little bit, especially because Chivas can be very deadly on the counter. And so I think that we're going to stay as tight and compact as possible, but still try to, take the game to Chivas.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is going to be our old classic midfield battle. I think Solari needs to get that instilled in the player's mind that the way we will win this match is if we stay organized, compact, and have the ball, move it around, make them just adjust to us, and then keep them on their heels whenever we're moving the ball around. I think that's when we play best. I think that's what's given us the better chances of scoring this season. It definitely irritates teams because who wants to be playing who wants to be playing against that, right? Just slowly but surely break them down. And I like once again Richard Aquino and Fidalgo and Cordova. Those are the players that have to be the showstoppers on Sunday. Those are the ones that are gonna have to control at any given moment of the match. 100%, 110% from 0 to 90. I need those 4 players to really be on their A game.
Definitely. And AJ, I think Christian alluded to something very important, ball possession. I think this is a game where we have to revert what we did against Leon and maybe use it to our favor, have the ball instead of trying to chase after it, Christian mentioned that teams hate playing against oppositions that like to pass the ball around and kind of move the ball, be a little bit patient, and I think that if we can hold the ball, if we can kind of just dictate the tempo a little bit. You mentioned it too, AJ. That midfield battle is going to be key and crucial, and if we can get past that, and if we can win that battle, then I think that maybe we're going to be in a very good position to kind of pull the strings around a little bit more to our favor. So, what do you think?
It's perfect. It's perfectly said, really. But as mentioned, the midfield, it's a battle between those two. But how like the midfield for Chivas is seeing, it's not looking so great. And Jamaica, with the midfields that they have in play that will be in that starting 11, they could definitely take advantage of them and get past through them. They can send a through ball or a cross into the final third, and I'm confident that someone's gonna get to it. Look at how Mario Lainez was. We seen him as a winger growing since from the very first game of the season. He's growing as a left winger. He's starting to get more comfortable in that position with every single game and knows what he has to do. And whoever's going to be up front, whether that's going to be Henry, Viñas, or Rory, if they can get those passes from the midfield and can get themselves on a one-on-one and give themselves some space, they could definitely finish it. So I feel like in this game, it's really crucial for them. And the idea of possession, that is key because we don't want to have the opposition taking the game right to us. So the defense, it was worrisome against Leon. Even though in this past scene, Solai has been trying to convert this back four into a slide back four, which people are having confidence, but we don't want a repeat of what happened in that Ligia where we just let a long shot go in and absolutely know we can do. And why that happened? Because spacing. And that's what we don't want to give up with this defense, knowing how shaky it can be at times. But all in all, Jamaica, I feel like where they really need to dominate that midfield. We could dominate midfield and move forward. I feel like that's good. I feel like we can definitely take the game to Chivas at that point.
Definitely, and just kind of add one thing to our defense, and one thing I noted from the game against Leon. Leon never really had a shot where they troubled Ochoa rather than just the goal that they scored. And I don't really think they had anything after that. I mean, they had possession, they had chances here and there, maybe a couple of headers that went wide, but nothing really that, Ochoa had to make a big save or we had to make like a super big, huge block. So, I think we're just kind of painting that this Leon game was very much a bad one because of how, much they dominated that ball in the second half. But defensively, I still think we looked pretty solid against them. So I think that is also a plus to take away coming into this one. But Vado, talk to me. How do you see Chivas planting themselves against America at home? How do you think Vucetich tactically is going to try to maybe overcome the newcomer Solari? And to you, who's the player to watch, or who's the key player for Chivas on Sunday to kind of maybe bring the game and all 3 points to your guys' stadium?
Well, I like how you guys are saying that you guys should dominate possession, and I'm like, yes, please dominate possession because that's how Chivas is going to win this game if they're going to win this game. All these games that we've been unable to win, we've had like 66% possession or whatever. We've been dominating ball possession. We have the ball, but we don't know what to do with it. This team doesn't know what to do with the ball. So, yes, take the ball away from Chivas because that's what's going to help us win if we're going to win. Lalo Torres is a midfielder that has surprised a lot of fans. He just started playing this season. I think he debuted last season, but this is the season that he's establishing himself. And we've started to see that he can make these passes over the top behind defenses, and Macias or Antuna or Vega can get to them. And when he's playing sharp, he's a player to watch. I think you guys should keep an eye on him on Sunday night because I don't remember if he played in the quarterfinals against you guys. I think he did, but he looked shaky when he played against America and Leon, but that could have just been like rookie nerves because it's your first Liguilla.
Yeah.
But tactically, I think Vucetich is going to come out with the same lineup that he always does. I think he's been doing like a 4-3-3. And that's the thing, though. We don't have a style. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, it's kind of like whatever happens. This team kind of relies more on individual moments of brilliance than the team building up play and scoring a goal. Molina has like 2 random goals for us. Ponce has 2 goals for us. Macias has 6, and then I don't know where the rest have come from because it's like a very deceitful third place offense in the league right now. But I think if you guys want a player to watch, it's definitely going to be Vega because I think the team lives or dies by what Alexis Vega does. He's just so talented on the ball. like these last 2-3 games, he's been nutmegging and spin move and like everything against opponents. He that goal on Mazatlan this last game, he did like a heel flick to save the ball because he knew where Ponce was. So that goal was like 75% Alexis. And I just think, Vega always has that moment of brilliance that he can have it at any moment and score a golazo. Atlas fans are triggered right now because he owns them. And I think it's only a matter of time before he steps up against America and does something like that against them. So if you guys want a player to watch, it's definitely Alexis Vega. Macias is in form. He has 6 goals on the season. Antuna, I don't know. He's a national team player, but right now, nobody in the league is biting on his step overs anymore. And they know just run with him. He's going to get to the line and drown himself. So Vega and Macias are the 2 guys that you guys should keep an eye on Sunday night.
All right. Interesting. Okay. So it sounds like maybe Chivas will definitely invite us to have the ball. Now the question is, can America do anything with it? I think we've mentioned that, we want to see a lot more passes going forward rather than back. And we want to see less resetting of the play and rather, being a little bit more adventurous, more daring, and try to, split the defense somehow, make a through ball, do something. And I think, like you mentioned, Christian, it's all going to fall within the creative players in that midfield, whether that be Richard, Fidalgo, and or Cordova. But yeah, I mean, thoughts in regards to what Varo just said in regards to maybe how Chivas might plant themselves against us.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. Like Varo said, there's a lot of games this season where it feels like Chivas should have maybe come away with the W, right? So we know that, they have potential to win matches. It's just, like I said, I think before, I think the team that establishes themselves first and faster and kind of keeps that consistency throughout the match will have the better chance of winning. And for America, that just means moving the ball around, staying organized, compact, making those little 1-2 plays and the overlapping runs, kind of just, disrupt Chivas in a way, right? And keep doing that, and I think America will be fine this match.
Alrighty then, interesting. So Varo gave us a couple players to keep an eye out for. Who do you think America needs to kind of heavily rely on this game, or at least needs to have a big game in order for us to walk away with all 3 points? Is Gio gonna come back to life? Is he gonna be the man who wins it all at the death?
I don't think so.
Well, then if it's not Gio,
he's been playing for you guys. I thought I saw something that he's not playing for y'all.
Barely, no.
Barely.
He just shows up to training.
Yeah. With like chelas in his hand.
Yo, he's cracking open.
What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of the Miguel Herrera and Dos Santos beef going on midweek?
Oh man.
No, man. I think it's just Piojo trying to find his way back into the headlines.
Yeah,
I think he misses it. He misses it. He's addicted to the headlines.
He is addicted.
You guys miss Piojo?
He needs all the smoke.
No, I don't think any of us here in the podcast necessarily miss Piojo. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a day where we're just like Piojo come back, but it's not gonna be anytime soon. I could tell you that much. So
yeah, I thought when you guys got rid of him, I was like, damn, that's a good move. Like they should have done that a while ago. I feel like he's more of like a player's coach than like an actual like tactical coach.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
And I think Vucetich like 100% exposed him in the league. Yeah, I was like, finally somebody did it. Like
completely.
Surprised he didn't throw hands with Vucetich at the very end. Like what he did with the guy from CONCACAF during
LAFC.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even think it was like a cut. It was like just one of the staff from CONCACAF. I think it was. So I was like, man, he would literally anything that moves that could threaten him, he will fight. He will fight. He will put hands up, do everything to his ability. My God.
Yeah, no, we're definitely trying, enjoy this new era of Solari, and hopefully it's a long one, and hopefully one with a lot of happy memories and silverware here and there as well wouldn't hurt. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, who's the player to watch for America this game?
It's Pedro Aquino, I think, for me. We saw the impact that he has on the pitch when he's on and when he's off. So definitely a player of his caliber, and for the idea that Solari will bring to the match, he's definitely key. So Pedro Aquino for me.
AJ?
Mauro Lainez, actually. That's my play that I want to see him shine. Ever since the very beginning, everyone always thought, why do we bring him? He then score a goal, and he's like, okay, that's something we can go with. Even though his decision making early on the season has been questionable, but through games he seems to mature and improve his game every single time. Even though, like last game at Leon, we showed he made some good plays and it could have turned into something. But now against a big team like Chivas, it's definitely his time to shine. I really want to see who knows, maybe he can notch himself a goal, and I'd love to see that. Sadly, it's only a loan, but hey, I want him to play his 110% in every single game for Mega this season, and what a better time for him to play like that against Chivas.
Definitely. All right. I was gonna say Cordova, but then people are gonna say I'm bashing on him. So I'm actually gonna go with someone who a lot of people wouldn't actually even think about in regards to being a key player for America, but it's gonna be for me, Manuel Aguilera. Look, he's had a terrible game against Leon, missing what I can still not believe he missed.
And we didn't even talk about it.
No, because it's not worth it. It's just ridiculous what he missed in front of goal. Okay, but look, he's potentially having his best season in an America jersey, regardless of obviously not taking into consideration the year that he won the championship with America, where he and Bruno were racking up numbers like there was no tomorrow. But I think he's finally, finding form, finding confidence, and maybe he lost it a little bit against Tijuana, and it showed against Leon. And I think he needs to kind of, pick it back up, have himself a pretty good game, because he is, believe it or not, he is the rock of that defense. He is the heart and soul, because he's the one that has the most experience. He's the one kind of leading the line in that sense. And so if we have an Aguilera that is doubtful, if we have an Aguilera that is, questioning everything and is not kind of 100% there, then we're going to get exposed, we're going to get beat, and it's going to be a long night for us. But if Manuel Aguilera can come in and take that leadership role and really, really come into this game, play with that confidence that he has been, then I think that we're going to have a very solid defense. You're going to see some very good kind of, building out from the back. And I think that's going to be important for America to kind of, cement themselves along the way in this match, because like I've said, this is going to be one of those games where I think keep saying it, that midfield battle is important, and how much support does that defense kind of give our midfield? I think it's going to be crucial. So for me, definitely keep an eye on Aguilera. What he does on Sunday, I think, will pay very, very much dividends going forward in the match. So those are the players to watch for Chivas and for America. So if you guys have anyone else, please let us know in the comments down below. But all right, gentlemen, before I ask for predictions, because I think it's getting right around that time. Quick question to everyone, to all of you, mostly Americanistas, because I don't know if Chivas will have an opinion on this, but Sunday, it's more than likely that we're going to come out with our home uniform, right? I don't see how we use the third kit. I think it clashes with Chivas' white. So, do you guys think, and this is just my personal belief, I think that this has to happen, but does Ochoa come out with the third kit? It's a serious question.
And you still find a way to include Ochoa and make him the center of attention here.
He's always the center of the attention on this podcast.
For you, maybe.
Yeah, not for me. It's different.
What do you guys think, though? Because I think when this third uniform came out, that we all kind of alluded back to that Ochoa jerseys days, and so I don't know. I'd want to see him play against Chivas with this kit.
Yes, me too, but it's not going to happen.
How come he just never got his own version of the kit? I don't understand that. It could have maybe just been a different color or something, but then he just has to wear the uniforms that we had from last season for like the third choice. So I don't know, man. As long as it's, I guess we don't confuse anyone on the pitch, and that's fine. But I don't know.
I'm going yes. I'm happy hope. I'm lighting a little candle. I'm doing my little prayers, crossing my fingers that he's gonna come out with that third kit. Freddie's saying yes, so Freddie and I are on the same page on this one. But you know what? You said Jerry's saying it would be dope to see that, but I doubt it. Who knows? Let's keep faith, guys. Let's keep faith. But either way, this game's going to be a fun one. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Christian is going to have the pleasure of covering this one for us. And I know he definitely enjoys himself a Clasico Nacional. But all right, gentlemen, we've come to the end of the podcast. So I need to ask for your guys' predictions for Sundays. And since, seeing as how you guys are at home, Vado, it's only fair that I ask you first. What is your prediction for Sunday's match?
Sunday night. It's gonna be 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Keep our no losing streak going, but we're not gonna win again.
But I get E8 in the 90th minute.
90th minute, Oribe Peralta tie.
But God.
What a way.
Hot take? You want hot take?
He could have done that last time, actually, but I forgot who was it. They didn't pass the ball off to Oribe, and then I think it was from the quarterfinals. I forgot who it was. Like, Oribe was open right there to put the nail in the coffin.
Would you pass it to him?
I mean,
that's a good question. Yeah.
I mean, the way he's been playing with Chivas and the sitters he's missed, so I think I tweeted it.
Maybe
too.
it's the one time
he was like, I wouldn't have passed it to him either.
Maybe it's the one time he's like, I gotta do it to him. So he just taps the ball and he's like, all right, my job is done. I'm gonna retire.
Bro, I remember against Tigres, they gave it to him wide open in the box, solo, and like he like tapped it.
Oh,
like he had to blast it. He like tapped it to Nahuel. I almost broke my TV. I was like, nah, man. Like, what are we doing? Why is he here?
Thank you again for taking him, guys. Really. But all right, I like it. Okay, so that was that's Vado going with a 2-2 draw, which I think would be interesting. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see. And maybe, like I said, it's exactly what we need to kind of bring back that spark. A good old draw with a lot of hype, with a lot of goals, and with a lot of memorable moments. But Christian, what is your prediction? Since you're covering this game for us on Sunday, what is your prediction for the match?
I'm going to be bold here. I also am going to go with a lot of goals, but I think this is a game where I think America needs to prove himself, and what better to do it against our arch nemesis over here. 3-1 America.
3-1. Okay, now that is a lot of goals, and that is that's very adventurous. Okay, all right. I don't know where all those goals are coming from. We haven't even scored 3, I think, this season.
Don't worry.
AJ, prediction.
What
is young Arnie got?
I switched from my previous result. You know what? I'm going 3-0.
Oh, that's even more adventurous.
That's even more adventurous.
Okay.
3-0.
Wow.
Man, where'd you guys get all this confidence from?
It's always been
okay.
there.
It's always been there. Alrighty then. So, well then, I'm going a little bit less adventurous. I'm actually gonna go with a 2-1 victory. I think that I would love a clean sheet. I really would. For me, that would be perfect. I think that if we can walk away with 3 points and a clean sheet, then that's perfect. But I do think Chivas are more than capable of getting one back, and so 2-1 victory for me. I think that still is a really, really good result, especially away on the road. But right now, I'm gonna read out a couple more of the comments. But tell us, Christian, are we betting the house or are we betting the toilet? What are we betting this week?
Listen, I'm always betting. All right, so I'm always gonna put something up there. In terms of betting the house, though, I'm not too sure about this one. This is still a little bit tricky for me. Give me a couple days to sit on it, do my due diligence. But for right now, if you guys really wanted to know, yes, America is the favorite, slightly favorite, not that much. We are slightly favorite going into Chivas. So well, I don't know. I think I'll tweet it out later on this week to see what I'm doing. But definitely just know that money is going to be poured into this game. Okay,
money is being poured into this game instead of to this podcast funds. But again, here's your guys' odds. Do with it what you like. Again, a disclaimer: please gamble responsibly. This segment is for entertainment and entertainment purposes.
He's been practicing that, by the way.
Yeah, I have been practicing that every day in the mirror. Just right before work, I just I have my little notebook, and I'm just like, okay, disclaimer and yada yada. And so so yeah,
this actually benefits Chivas. We haven't every time we're favorites we lose, so it's good that we're not favorites. I've been keeping track. Every time Vegas picks us to win, we lose, so this is good.
All right. Well, before I wrap it up, I just want to read a couple of the results here that some of these listeners are giving us. Jessica Reyes saying Chivas 2-1. Jerry Sanchez going with a 2-0 victory. Cordoba and Viñas off the bench. So he's saying, I'm betting the house, betting the car, betting the hair. And if you have kids, bet the kids as well. And if you don't have them, bet your little cousins.
I like that. I like that.
Jerry coming in very bold. We love it. We love it, Jerry. Love it. Fred Duran saying 2-0 goals from Cordoba. And Henry AP Jr. saying America 3-2. That paints like an interesting game, you know. Ivan, my twin, shout out to him, going with a 3-1 victory for America. Yep. You guys very much a connection. And then Chris saying, you can't forget, we betting Chivas' toilet. Betting Chivas' toilet-looking stadium. All right. Well, the banter is here, and it's going to continue until the end of the week. Who's going to have bragging rights at the end of the day? We'll have to wait and see. Even if it's a draw, will there still be bragging rights? I don't know. I guess everyone just, takes theirs and goes home. But, it's been good. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, sadly won't get the matchup of the century, which would be Chofis, the Mexican Messi, versus Chucho Lopez, the Guatemalan GOAT. So sadly we won't be getting that. We won't get that, sadly, because Chofis is at San Jose. So
and Chucho Lopez probably won't even see minutes.
All right.
I remember one time Trophy scored at us, and it was nicknamed Air Trophies, and then just never was seen after that.
Images that precede unfortunate events. Context he scored, never heard of ever again.
Oh man.
But we just want to say thank you, Vado, for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you guys. We look forward to it, especially when the Clásicos are right around the corner. Like you said, it's always good fun, good banter, and continue to do what you guys are doing. You guys are killing it, and just motivates us to keep pushing it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys. Always fun to do these pods. Just want to say it's gonna suck when this game ends 0-0 and everybody was wrong.
Damn, he hated everyone.
And we all look like fools.
Get the clown makeup up and all that. Get the shoes, and we're acting like clowns.
My question is, what happens if it is a draw? Does Jerry's cousins do they get lost in the draw? Like what's what's going on with that? Jerry, let us know what happens next week. But thank you again to everyone who came out tonight. You guys were amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you again to our sponsors, Foot Cult. Again, we'll be back next week to talk things all America on Tuesdays, and me and Angel will be here on Thursdays to sadly talk about what happened with America Femenil and the Atletico San Luis matchup. So if you guys want to hear more about that and our disappointment, you guys can tune in on Thursdays. But again, shout out to everyone. Thank you guys so much again. You guys will be back. Don't forget, Thursdays, daylight saving times. So still probably at the same around time, but you guys can just check our Twitter to be double sure. And again, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you guys again. Take care. Wear your mask. Be safe. Until next time. Arriba la América. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.